It's gonna take a miracle to find a place. Feels like I'm living in a country song, with everything in life going wrong, and down and out for far too long. Feels like I'm living in a country song. I know when destruction comes our way, it's clearing out what doesn't need to stay. There's always gonna be a delay between when we receive and when we pray. But the Lord, I just got to say, feels like I'm living in a country song, with everything in life going wrong, and down and out for far too long. Feels like I'm living in a country song. Lord, if this is you preparing ground, please show me there's hope to be found. I'm praying someday my life will rebound. Until then, keep me safe and sound. Feels like I'm living in a country song, with everything in life going wrong, and down and out for far too long. Feels like I'm living in a country song. Oh, I'm living in a country song. Oh, I'm living in a country song. I am the phoenix. I was born in flame and ashes. I will rebuild the world that everyone else trashes. You have the matches, you have the flame. You can light my world on fire, but watch me rise again. I am the phoenix. I to stay the fool. You can break my heart, but you can't break me. I'm rising up, I'm reaching out, I'm soaring free. I'm soaring free. I am the phoenix, rising up from the flame and ashes. I will rebuild the world for everyone that's precious. You have the matches, you have the flame. You can light this world on fire, but I will rise again. I am the phoenix, watch me rise again. If love walked in the room today, would you know it came your way? If it called your name, what would you say? Would you come to it or walk away? I've been searching everywhere, all around for love, but I don't know where it's found. Can you tell me, does it have a sound? A color, a look, is it square or round? Fairy tales, Hollywood and romance books. Is love only for those with perfect looks? Is love just a dream I created in my mind? Or is it waiting somewhere for me to find? If it already came, can I hit rewind? I've been searching, but I'm blind. If love walked in the room today, would you know it came your way? If it called your name, what would you say? Would you come to it or walk away? Love's just a feeling that fades away. Is it worth finding when it won't stay? If it takes all the color and leaves me gray, why do I need it? What does my heart say? If love walked in the room today, would you know it came your way? If it called your name, what would you say? Would you come to it or walk away? I think I found love, but I'm not sure. Can my heart trust that his love is pure? All I know is when he's near, I feel secure. I've fallen so hard and there's no cure. No perfect body, so perfect looks. No fairy tales, Hollywood or romance books. I think love walked in the room today. I think it finally came my way. I know I couldn't walk away. I finally know what I would say. If this is love, I hope you'll stay. If this is love, I need you to stay. Please don't ever walk away. Please don't ever walk away.
All right, y'all, it is time to get us going. Where is it? Oh my goodness, as usual, being a beast. There we go. Let's show it on the screen. Is it gonna actually show up for me or not? Come on. You know you want to. You know you can. There we go. There's a good boy. You know you could show. Oh, internet, I love you. Oh my goodness. It is hard to learn from family. That's Hey, Cal. Oh my goodness. So, yes, we are getting back on the road. We have finally gotten the boys back together. We've got Hawkeye, we've got Seymour, and we've got Mortus all in one place. So it's now time to figure out what we're going to do next. Alright, I'm going to back it up 2 chapters. And we're going to read through chapter 19, chapter 20, and we'll figure out what we're doing in chapter 21 today. Just for the sake of everyone's sanity, and so we're all on the same page. Chapter 19, A Curious Incident. Mortus sat at a rest table, trying to figure out what to do next. His efforts to put out a signal to the community didn't seem to have done much. He hadn't heard a peep from anyone on Discord. His cell phone wasn't picking up a signal out here either. You know, that doesn't make a lot of sense given that he'd broadcast earlier, so we're going to change that. His cell phone stopped picking up a signal out here, which was about par for the course, so he entertained himself by watching Spin play with a pile of pine cones. He was fresh out of ideas and nervous about going into the caves himself. You know what was more likely? His cell phone was dying. Spin must lead the conversation, of course. About to get a delivery and gotta take the dog out. You'll be back? Well, that's cool. That's fine. His cell phone was dying. Dying? I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure it was doing it. His cell phone was dying, the battery draining, which was about par for the course. He shut it off and entertained himself by watching Spin play with a pile of pine cones. He was fresh out of ideas and nervous about going down into the caves themselves. His busted toes and stout figure meant it was going to be a painful walk up and down those stairs, and there were plenty of tight spaces where a man his size could get stuck. Although not claustrophobic, he didn't like that idea. It was at this point that a white van with several individuals dressed in black caught his attention. They were speaking a language he didn't recognize and pulling large things out of the side of the van. There were about 6 of them, most blonde and tall, definitely fit. Something about them screamed military, though he couldn't have said what it was. Maybe just the tightness of their formation and the level of coordination between them as they worked. He pulled out his cell phone and pretended as if he were reading something, turned on the camera feature and zoomed in the resolution as far as it could go. Ah, wait a minute. Okay. That wouldn't make sense if he shut it off. So his cell phone battery was draining. We're making a mess of this. Battery was draining. Rather than have him shut it off, so maybe he just turned off the, because when your battery's draining, the last thing you really want to do is run video, but because your camera feature drains a lot. So let's think this through. You know what? We'll just eliminate this. Because later we need the cell phone. So he was fresh out of ideas and nervous about going down to the caves themselves. Yeah, okay. Something about them screamed military, though he couldn't have said what it was. Maybe just the tightness of their formation and the level of coordination between them as they worked. He pulled out his cell phone and pretended as if he were reading something, turned on the camera feature and zoomed in the resolution as far as it would go. That's when he spotted something, a navy tattoo. It was a small detail, but significant. And this is the advantage of reading your stuff back to yourself. So you kind of hear and pick out those details that are not making a lot of logical sense and can fix them. He remembered Hawkeye telling him a story about his time in the Navy. The connection might be incidental, but it was the strongest lead he had to go on right now. The man sporting the tattoo was an outlier from the rest of the group. Dark-haired, shorter. Mortus moved the camera slightly as he pretended to be taking pictures of the scenery around him. He called Spin to him. "Stay close, buddy. I think we're about to be on the move." He trained the camera back in the direction of the van and panned over to the cave entrance when he noticed one of them scowling in his direction. No need to draw too much attention to himself. He wanted to at least pretend to be an innocent tourist on holiday. "Hey, Jeremy, it's Sparky. Good to see y'all. Happy Saturday." The minute they made a move, he wanted to follow them to see where things were going. The dark-haired man said something he couldn't make out to the group and then headed to the cave entrance. Mortus wondered what that man was up to. He'd have paid good money to be a fly on the wall. "Spin," he said. "How'd you like an assignment, little buddy?" The monkey looked at him and then looked at the cave. Mortus nodded. "Think you can follow that guy?" Spin chittered a bit and then scampered off in the direction the man had gone. At the very least, he gave Mortus a good reason to follow the guy. Nobody could blame him for chasing after his monkey. He gave Spin about a 3-minute head start and then gathered up his stuff, shouldered his packs, and began hobbling in the direction of the cave, calling out, "Spin, come back here! Spin!" as he went. Spin ignored him as he picked up pace. The guys in the van paused to watch him chase after Spin before shaking their heads and getting back to work. He pretended not to notice. It was as painful as he'd feared hobbling along on those broken toes, but he was determined to catch up to the monkey. It would give him a good excuse for following the dark-haired man if he got caught. He still had no idea if these guys were connected to Hawkeye's disappearance or not, but at the very least they provided a distraction from his boredom. And maybe his investigation into them would bear some fruit in his investigation into Hawkeye's disappearance. He reached the entrance to the cave and peered inside. Spin was just disappearing around a bend. Following a monkey. Unbelievable, he chuckled to himself. The monkey disappeared down a dark tunnel, and Mortus paused to allow his eyes to adjust to the dim lighting before moving forward. He used his cell phone's flashlight feature for a moment to get his bearings and then cocked his ears. He heard voices echoing down there. A woman's voice, followed by a man's, and Hawkeye's. Hawkeye was down there. He hesitated. What if Hawkeye was in danger? Would he put him in more danger by going forward? Just then, Spin came back to him, chittering at full speed, and climbed up his pants, wrapping his tail around his neck and grabbing fistfuls of his hair. He seemed in high distress. What had he seen, Mortus wondered. Devry's Dilemma, Chapter 20. Devries could taste copper in his mouth when he came to. She tased him, that witch! He couldn't believe it. He'd been surprised when the CIA approached him, offering him a plea deal if he'd agreed to become a confidential informant when the whole thing went down with Hawkeye. He'd been sure he was about to lose everything and spend hard time in lockup. Instead, he got knocked down a peg in rankings, but was allowed to keep his pension, his benefits, and his dignity, as long as he kept the CIA happy. The CIA even helped him pin the whole thing on Hawkeye, as long as he agreed to help them recover the map and keep their questions about the military operations answered. Devries was close to getting the map from the security officer's command post, but then it was handed off to someone in NCIS, Naval Criminal Investigation Services. It was out of his hands, or so he thought. Tolston didn't let it go. She told him, investigate. Find out what they've done with it, and our people will put together a plan to get it back. It never occurred to him to ask why the CIA was interested in the map. Devries didn't care. He was just grateful for the ability to keep his neck out of the chopping block, and if Hawkeye got screwed over in the process, that was the cherry on his ice cream cake. It also didn't occur to him to ask why the CIA couldn't just talk to the military and get it from them. As long as it benefited him, that was all that mattered. He made a move to stand up and ended up smashing his nose on a nearby crevice. Son of a bitch! Blood trickled from his nose, but with his hands tied behind his back, there wasn't a lot he could do about it. I swear I will get her back for that, he thought. Maybe a few of those Russians would be interested in knowing her real identity. He smirked at the thought of what they might do to her once they found out. She didn't treat anyone around her very well, and he's fairly certain nobody else liked her either. His fantasies about that came to an abrupt halt, though, when a flashlight shone in his eyes. One of Tolston's blonde Russians stood there. He told the man in Russian, Hawkeye's escaped. He broke loose from his ties and got me. Get me loose and get some help. The man stared down at DeVries and crossed his arms over his chest. When he spoke, it was in perfect English. I don't think so, DeVries. I've been waiting a while to get you alone. You and I are going to have a talk. Hey! DeVries felt his stomach drop. Who the heck are you? The man shook his head. You'll get answers to your questions when I get answers to mine. DeVries didn't like that. I'll scream! The man chuckled. I wouldn't do that if I were you. All it takes from me is a single word in Russian, and I can make you disappear. For good. DeVries scowled. What do you want from me? The man nodded. There you go. That's the weasel of a man I've come to know and loathe. He took a seat on a nearby rock just out of DeVries' grasp. Why does the CIA want Hawkeye? DeVries swallowed. I don't know and I don't care. The man frowned. I think you do know, and if you want to make it out of this place alive, you're going to care. A lot. DeVries clenched a fist, but with his hands and feet bound, he was helpless. Hawkeye's got access to a map they need. The man nodded. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. What does the map lead to? How do they need it? DeVries shrugged. I don't know. The man looked down at him for a moment, allowing the silence of the place to fill the air, then flicked off his flashlight. I guess we don't need you then. DeVries panicked at the thought of being abandoned down there in the dark. You're gonna leave me here? The man snorted. Your buddies will be back soon to get you. I'm sure they'll take good care of you. You leave me and I'll tell Tolston about you, DeVries threatened. You'll be lucky to survive what she does. The man grinned. You go right on ahead, weasel boy. Let her know you spilled the beans about what she's after. I'm sure that'll make her real happy. He paused for a moment. I know, I've got an idea. Why don't you and I tell her together? What do you think about that, DeVries? DeVries hadn't expected that. You wouldn't dare. The man shrugged. Try me. DeVries frowned. The map leads to a hidden base of operations. I don't know exactly what all they were doing with it, but they were using the tunnels connected to it to smuggle drugs in and out of the area. That's all I know. The man nodded. Good to know. Here's the deal, DeVries. You agree to keep me informed of what you find out, and you might, just might, make it out of this without a full court-martial for treasonous acts against the United States. DeVries swallowed hard. I haven't betrayed my country. Sure, I did some illegal stuff, but... The man cut him off. You partnered with a foreign enemy to aid and abet them in carrying out operations that undermined national security. That's treason, pal, any way you spell it. And treason comes with the death penalty. Think about that. DeVries felt a cold chill trickle down his spine as the flashlight clicked off, and the man's footsteps faded into the distance. Chapter 21, Seymour's Arrival. Yes, DeVries is always the stupidest guy in the room. He's never going to waste a brain cell on a thought of his own. I'm not sure he has too many of them to rub together. Chapter 21, Seymour's Arrival. Seymour watched Delilah sleeping for about 30 minutes as he thought about what to do. He made his decision and sent her a text message that read simply, I'll be back. Then he grabbed his keys, got dressed, and slipped out the door. Time to head to Mammoth Caves. Hawkeye was waiting, and so was Mortus. He didn't want to think too much about Delilah and how he felt about that whole situation, so he plugged in his cell phone and started blasting his playlist. The music helped drown out the voices in his head and ironically made it easier to think. He'd only been an hour away from the cave, so it didn't take him long to get there either. He arrived and pulled into the parking lot just in time to see a large man in a leg cast hobbling on crutches after a monkey. The man looked suspiciously like Mortus, and he was calling out, Spin! Come back here, Spin! As he went. Yep, it was Mortus. He couldn't believe it. He decided to follow the man into the caves just to see what the deal was. He was dying to find out what Mortus knew about Hawkeye's disappearance and ask him about that weird scavenger hunt. There we go. We're going to add that word because I like it. He hurried across the parking lot and noticed a white van with several blonde men gathered around it, pulling large bags out of it. It looked strange, but he didn't have too much time to think about that. He needed to focus. He was just about to duck into the cave entrance when he spotted another familiar face. Hawkeye's. He was being escorted by a blonde woman with a very unhappy look on her face. Spin was frantically climbing up Mortus's clothes and then perched himself on Mortus's shoulder, chittering loudly. "Hawkeye!" he and Mortus shouted at the same time. Hawkeye's eyes widened and a grin spread across his face. "Guys, how did you find me?" The woman's eyes narrowed. You know, this doesn't actually make sense. She doesn't know who these people are, necessarily. She doesn't know what their connection is, necessarily. She may, I mean, if she's genuinely CIA, she would likely know who they are and what their connection is. But she's probably going to want to play this off and get Hawkeye to the van without the two of them suspecting anything. So we're going to change how we've written this. Let's see. I guess actually we'll offer you the option of how we handle this situation. And she's also got the Russians outside to contend with. So she's kind of in a pinched bind. Let's see what she does. Does she try to pass herself off as Hawkeye's girlfriend? Try to recruit Mortus and Seymour? Threaten the three of them to be silent? All right. Let's see. Oh, stared. You're right, Cal. Joys of misspelling things. It would be a different thing. Mortus and Seymour. Seymour? Seymour. My mouth is not wanting to talk today. Mortus and Seymour stared at the woman in confusion. Operation? Yes. You help your buddy Hawkeye here do what I need him to do, and everyone goes home happy. She brandished her taser. Or I make sure you two disappear, and Hawkeye still helps me. She gave them a smile. That reminded Seymour of a hungry crocodile. Now, Mortis left his guns. Um, he's got his case. I think he doesn't have a gun with him right now. Because that pack of guns was heavy. Alright, the votes were in. Oh, actually, 5 London. Because one of the sixth one was down there with Debris. Yeah, yeah, eventually. On a predatelista. Is she's a traitor? Okay. But you know. Yeah, Tater would have been funnier. You're off to the drugstore, Sparky? Alright, no worries. Let's see what the word for I have proof happens to be. Yeah, well, Ymir, those, whatever. uh, you stole Televista. Forgive me, whoever's rushing and working around with this. He's lying. You can't trust him. There we go. On is it? You mean they'll yeah, don't He's lying. You can't trust him. All right, so let's give the blonde boy a chance to. We will take care of her. Ah, yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Just, this is what Google Translate was giving me, so, you know. I'm just copying and pasting. It's probably terribly wrong, which is why I'd have a Russian friend look it over for me. Tolston, Tolston. Let's not be too on the nose. All phonetic and lessons is, yeah, it is, basically. Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, I have a Russian friend. Actually, I worked for him for like 3 years. He's a great guy, actually. He's back in Russia now, so we don't work together anymore, which I miss him. Let's see. Normal text. No, there we go. It is challenging. One of the few things I learned from my Russian lessons when I was a teenager was "era floita." Нет. And I can basically say yes, no, airplane. Yeah. So there you go. I'm very impressive in my Russian. Hawkeye. I don't know that this makes any real sense, and I'm not sure this is how it would actually work, but you know, hey, we've got craziness all over this book, and it'll likely have to change a lot in editing, so. Chapter 21, Seymour's Arrival. Seymour watched Delilah sleep for about 30 minutes as he thought about what to do. He made his decision and sent her a text message that read simply, "I'll be back." Then he grabbed his keys, got dressed, and slipped out the door. Time to head to Mammoth Caves. Hawkeye was waiting, and so was Mortus. He didn't want to think too much about Delilah and how he felt about that whole situation, so he plugged in his cell phone and started blasting his playlist. The music helped drown out the voices in his head and, ironically, made it easier to think. He'd only been an hour away from the cave, so it didn't take him long to get there either. He arrived and pulled into the parking lot just in time to see a large man in a leg cast hobbling on crutches after a monkey. The man looked suspiciously like Mortus, and he was calling, "Spin! Come back here, Spin!" as he went. Yep, it was Mortus. He couldn't believe it. He decided to follow the man into the caves just to see what the deal was. He was dying to find out what Mortus knew about Hawkeye's disappearance and ask him about that weird scavenger hunt. He hurried across the parking lot and noticed a white van with several blonde men gathered around it, pulling large bags out of it. It looked strange, but he didn't have time to think too much about that. He needed to focus. He was just about to duck into the cave entrance when he spotted another familiar face, Hawkeye's. He was being escorted by a blonde woman with a very unhappy look on her face. Spin was frantically climbing up Mortus's clothes and then perched himself on Mortus's shoulder, chittering loudly. "Hawkeye!" he and Mortus shouted at the same time. Hawkeye's eyes widened and a grin spread across his face. "Guys, how did you find me?" The woman's eyes narrowed. "I see your friends have arrived just in time. You boys are now part of my operation." Mortus and Seymour stared at the woman in confusion. "Operation?" "Yes. You help your buddy Hawkeye here do what I need him to do, and everyone goes home happy." She brandished her taser. "Or I make sure you two disappear and Hawkeye still helps me." She gave them a smile that reminded Seymour of a hungry crocodile. "I'm sure you'll be reasonable." Seymour frowned. "Lady, who are you?" Her eyes flicked to the cave entrance and the 5 blonde men walking her direction. She began barking orders in Russian, ignoring his question. Spin took that exact moment to leap onto the blonde woman's head, offering an effective distraction. Mortus discreetly used his crutch to sweep her legs out from underneath her, causing her to land with an oof and several swear words in English. It was at that moment that a 6th blonde man came up behind Hawkeye and drew his gun, startling Seymour. "Hey, what are you doing?" The blonde man pointed it in the direction of the 5 other men and started speaking to them in Russian. "Ona pratelnica, u меня есть только завтра stuff." Basically, her eyes widened and she held up her hands. "Unzizet, I'm mangling that terribly. "Hey, Timmy!" Yeah. Tovarich is how I was told to say friend, but Google Translate says drug law, so I don't always trust it, no doubt. Let's see. Although neither Seymour nor Hawkeye could understand what was being said, they watched the men's faces transform as their eyes locked onto the blonde woman. "They look all right, don't they, mate?" Seymour asked under his breath. The blonde man gestured toward the other 5, bringing them closer and showing them his cell phone. The 5 faces grew grim as they looked through it all. One of them spoke when they were done. "Mon poste, one." Her eyes widened. "Please, you're not going to let them do this to me. I'm a CIA officer. They'd be looking for me." "They'd have a lot of explaining to do to be able to come looking for you, don't you think, Officer Tolston?" the blonde man said, squatting near her as he plucked away the taser. "I'll be happy to help, but only if you're willing to tell me the truth about what it is you've been doing down here." The 5 men clustered together watched as he placed zip ties around her hands and hauled her up. He looked over at Hawkeye. "We'll likely still need your help. I need a full statement about everything that happened and how you tie into this." Hawkeye nodded. "I'll be thrilled to give one. Do you need me to come with you?" The blonde man shook his head. "I'm going to tell them that she was using them to get back at you for a private matter. They won't like that, and I'm going to take them to Devery's. You're free to go. I'll be in touch." "That's okay, man. It's okay. Good to see you anyway." Look, you've got a lot going on, so I don't expect timeliness being next to godliness. Let's see. Seymour and Hawkeye. Let's see, how many police officers does Mortus have? We'll say that that's where he's from. Let's see. I don't know that they even have an official police department. It may be nice. Nice. So, let's see. They may just have a sheriff's department. Let's look at that. Yeah. Sheriff's office, basically 3 people. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Let's see. Jason Dingman, Jason Reed, Damon Kerfman. So, okay, so 2 investigators, 5 deputies, 6 deputies. Okay. It's not a very big department at all. No, there's just 5,400 people. There's just not much budget for a lot of police officers. So there we go. That's how that wraps up. We've got them reunited. Hawkeye's been found. We've got a few things to still do for this story to be finished. But, let's see. Um, let's see. These are the options we've got. We can have Seymour call Lauren. We can have Mortus, Hawkeye, and Seymour stream. We can have Hawkeye testify against Tolston. We can have Lauren and the detective get together. And we can have all four, actually. Those could be the final 4 chapters. Needs one more twist. What are you thinking, Cal? What twist would you like to add in there? It still doesn't clarify what happened to the map. But maybe that's part of the twist before we end this. We got 3 votes. See if we got enough people in chat for one more, or is that all we got? It's okay if it's all we got. Boop-a-doo. Da-da-dum. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Yeah, I think we'll end the poll. Okay. So that's part of it. Seymour's gonna call Lauren. The 3 of them are gonna stream. Lauren and the detective, or Lauren's gonna notify the detective what's going on. Hawkeye's gonna testify against Tolston, and they'll find the map. The CIA nabs Hawkeye on the way home? Ooh. That's definitely a possibility. Or at least tries to nab Hawkeye. Let's go ahead and break. We'll start our new chapter. Not bad, guys. We have done 22 chapters. We are on a cooking with Crisco there, right? We also have to wrap up the Delilah thing. Delilah trying to seduce the car parts guy for a free repair. Oh, you didn't get an option? I'm sorry. That's okay. You can type your option in the chat. It's about 74 degrees here, and we're not getting any snow tonight or tomorrow. At least not anticipated. Studio apartment. Yeah, travel light is right. Last studio album, Reinventing the Steel. Exactly. Well, you never know. Something like that. It just does like to overcapitalize. Your cousin Kevin was at that show in Columbus? Killed on stage? Wow. Yikes. That must have been crazy. Alright, so we have concluded not only chapter 21, but we have also written a whole new chapter, Lauren and the Detective, which actually should be titled, let's see, leaving Mammoth Caves, because Lauren didn't feature much in it. But we will in the next chapter probably address her. Oh, I didn't even know about Tom Jones, Why, Delilah. The only one I know about is, Hey There, Delilah. Because, let's see. Because it was a song written about a girl that the singer had a crush on, but she didn't even really have a thing for him. He just had a thing for her. So it's hilarious in its own way, and this is kind of like Seymour and Delilah. So it's, hey there, Delilah, what's it like in New York City? I'm 1,000 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so pretty, yes you do. Times Square can't shine as bright as you. Yeah. Any rate, so that's the one. That's the song, and it's funny because, you know, of course, Delilah drives Seymour crazy. And now he's gonna have to confront her about her little role in this whole escapade, and try to figure out, you know, how to deal with that when they get there. But yeah, so we have had a great stream. We got a lot accomplished. We have a lot left to do to wrap things up. But probably maybe 5 or 6 chapters left, I guess, really, to complete this. And then we can start the editing and fleshing out process, which is sometimes not quite as fun as the writing, but actually is what gives depth to a book. If you don't go through, we'll vote on whether or not you guys want to do that with me or whether you want me to do that work on my own. But yeah, this is where we are. We'll stop streaming for today. Thank you guys for joining me. Totally appreciate it. And I will see y'all next week. Next week will be the last week that we stream from West Des Moines, Minnesota. From West Des Moines, Iowa. The week after that, we should be in Minnesota. So we will see you there. See you in West Des Moines next week, and then we will wrap up. We will be able to give you more updates. I guess I could stop and give you, in case you missed the stream on Friday, in case y'all don't know what's happening, let me pop the GoFundMe in the chat, because I do have an update for you there. We have gotten a little more in donations coming through since the last time. So let me go ahead. Yeah. Pop that GoFundMe in there. Anything y'all can give is a huge help, obviously. Things are going to happen, God's willing, whether or not we get another dime, you know, but the more we get, the easier it is for us to successfully make that transition. So let's see. Yeah, we've raised 315 of the 495 we were trying for. Let me copy that link. And gave you all the information you need to know about that. We found a place to live. It's a nice place. We just need $1,100 to move in for a deposit, and then $1,100 for the first month, plus a $250 electric deposit, plus $150 renter's insurance. So obviously everything adds up. And that's the whole point of the fundraiser, so that we have as much possible before cleared and covered. Thank you for the prayers. Thank you so much. Glad to see you guys, and we